Yo, what's going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, we're talking about relics, because relics through Smite's entire lifetime have been basically two: beads and blink. And I think we're finally now at a spot that while beads is probably still the best relic in the game, there is two other relics that contest beads and maybe even surpass blink as a better relic in most situations. And beyond that, I also want to talk about just how bad the other relics are in terms of balance when you compare them to these others. So taking a look at all the relics quickly, we got Aegis, Blink, Bracer, Med, Divine Barrier, Heavenly Wings, Horrific, Shell, Beads, Thorns, Sunder, and TP. When you look at the worst relics in the game, two pretty clearly stick out to me as being just above all worse than anything else, and it's for a couple reasons. The worst one right now is Divine Barrier, and the reason it is so bad is because it's just that much worse than Horrific. It is a reduction to the enemy when they're trying to auto attack, and then it is an increase to yours. Horrific now just reduces their damage dealt outright. It doesn't have to go through a shield that you can just walk around or walk through, and it also reduces their movement speed before even having to walk through. On top of that, it reduces their healing and their shielding. Divine Barrier doesn't do much of that at all. The other relic that I think is in not a very good spot right now is Sunder. I think Sunder is just a super volatile relic. Currently, it is not very good, and I perfectly honestly don't want this item to be any stronger than it is, because it is a very frustrating item as a frontliner. Even if you're fed 1 CC could spell death. Is that some sort of balance? Maybe. I'm just not a fan of it at all. I think it is very toxic. Outside of those two, I think there's another level to just being a bunch of just meh relics. Aegis, I think, is pretty just meh. Bracer, pretty meh. Med, Heavenly Wings, Thorns, TP, all generally pretty meh. Med and Shell are both countered by Horrific Emblem. Sprint does counter Horrific though, but it is just the benefit to Heavenly Wings. Like the Heavenly Wings equivalent to Horrific would be Heavenly also increases your movement speed, or sorry, increases your damage dealt. Could you imagine if Heavenly, on top of giving you movement speed, attack speed, and slow immunity, and rooting, also gave you extra damage? That would be insane. That's what Horrific does. So now that I've kind of showed my hand of what is the best relic in the game, or in contention, Horrific Emblem. I've already talked about it a little bit, but this item, it does too many things. I've talked about it since the beginning of this year. Removing Ankh and just giving it to Horrific Emblem breaks Horrific. This item has no downside. What is the downside to Horrific? The range at which you can apply it, which, by the way, low-key would be a pretty good way to go about nerfing this item. Instead of being within 35 units, make it like 25 or 20, because this item is so OP. Why does it do so many things? The other relic with Horrific that I think is just very strong, that's not Blinker Beads, is, if you've been paying attention, Thorns. This item is incredible for self-survivability, damage, and just early game. It just does so many things well. Damage mitigation, which is good early and late game. Flat damage on top of just scaling damage based on damage taken, and reducing enemy lifesteal. All while through this, it's burst damage. So there's a ton of strong things about this Thorns, and there's a reason that you're seeing it a lot. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about Beads and Blink, because Blink is the ability to get to the enemy's backline 99% of the time, and then Beads is just cleansing an enemy CC, where Smite is built around this item. You can't really change it at this point. Hopefully something changes for Smite 2, but as of now, Beads is just busted. Gonna be in every game forever until Smite's dead. But I'd like to argue that Horrific and Thorns are both better than Blink in a lot of scenarios. So the value of Blink is not having to use your escape to get in. Thorns isn't really a get in, get out relic. It is a get in, kill, or be killed. Horrific is a get in, reduce the enemy's damage so much that you can kill them. In most games, Blink and Horrific or Blink and Thorns are what you're going as a solo laner or a support. Obviously, if you're a solo laner and you have your TP, there is something to be said that you're just going to have one to build. But a lot of them are opting for Thorns. And I think a lot of junglers can even go for Thorns or Horrific Emblem. Gods like Rat, gods like Thor, gods like Erlang, they don't really need Blink. They're only going Blink because a lot of them are just used to building it. Another one, Mercury has some opportunity to build something that's not Blink, but for the most part, Mercury does just go Aegis. But there is a lot of opportunity for just not building Blink anymore. People are so comfortable with Blink that you just see it kind of all the time. But the entire point I wanted to talk about this video is I want to talk about the balance of the relics. And at this point, relics are probably the least balanced they've ever been. There is one above all else, absolutely OP busted, Beads. That's always been the case, yes. But there used to be like a Beads, Blink, and then like every other relic fills up this, and they're all very close. Now it's beads, blink, thorns, horrific, those other 6 that I don't want to mention because I just don't want to name them all off again. And then there's spear and divine barrier, or sunder and divine barrier. The balance just seems all out of whack because at this point, there's not really too much that squishies have to fight back into horrific and thorns. And I think it's these 2 items are just so OP that going a different relic is almost trolling in support 90% of the time. Horrific can be good, yes, but in the early game, Horrific's a small heal and mana back. Horrific makes that small heal even worse while also reducing your damage and reducing your movement speed. Well, okay, well, I know they're going to go Horrific. I can go Heavenly Wings and just fight into them, right? Well, no, your damage is getting reduced and your healing is getting reduced and your shielding is getting reduced. So maybe you have some healing built into your kit. Well, yeah, you'll get a little bit of attack speed, a little bit of movement speed, but that's about it. While you're getting your all your damage reduced, not just your attack speed. And then Thorns, there is a rise, and I think it was PBM that's been building this a lot in ranked. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am wrong, but the first person that I've seen people talk about is PBM's been going Thorns in support, and this is busted in support. As an engaged support, what else do I want more than a little bit of burst, mitigation, and to reduce their lifesteal? There's no downside to this. This item is just insane. It just gives way too much to that one god, and I think you have to take something off Thorns and you have to take something off Horrific. I've said Horrific either needs to be, and Genetics and I complained about this at the beginning of the year. Horrific has a few options to nerf its strength. Either 1, the duration of this goes down. So instead of 5 seconds, it's like 3 seconds. It's like a really quick, you know, Scylla's about to ult. I want to reduce her damage. Or let's just try to burst down the healer quick. We got 3 seconds to do it. That's fine. You could do that, or you just have to move the effectiveness of all of it down. The movement speed down to like 10%. The damage dealt maybe even removed from the item. You don't really want to touch the anti-heal and the anti-shield because that's kind of onk now. Like Horrific Emblem is no longer in the game. This is just onk. If you remove the anti-heal, the anti-shield, then there's really no relic to go if your team doesn't apply anti-heal very well, which is a very bad place to go. Something has to happen with Horrific, and then with Thorns, at this point, I think you have to just take away a lot of the burst damage from it, or you have to take away the mitigation, or lower it drastically to like 10 even, or 7.5, because I don't think lowering it to 12 does enough. With Compassion, they lowered it from 15 down to 12. I think 12 is just still too high for Thorns. But yeah, the video is entirely made just to say I think Horrific and Thorns are just way too strong right now. I think if they were weaker, solos would be complained about a lot less. Supports would be complained about a lot less. They're just so strong, and it's what's making playing backline not feel as good. Are the new items very strong? Shifters, Ichval, Nemean, are they pretty strong? I mean, they're fine, but combining them with Horrific and Thorns is where the real issue comes out. But that's what I'm here to complain about. I love complaining. You guys know it here. I like talking about the balance of the game and all that good stuff. So I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think about the balance. Do you guys think these are too strong? Do you like them where they are right now? Would you rather raise up the floor of the other 6 to 8 relics? Let me know down below. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.